As renowned professional baseball scout Asher Roth once said, I love college hitters.
I went back and listened to that song recently for the first time, and I was like, yeah, no, this song stinks. But hey, we love college hitters. I can't speak for Asher Roth, and this is going to be our list of our top 10 favorite college hitters in the 2022 Major League Baseball draft.
Probably the most reliable demographic of the ones that we're going to be talking about. College hitters are more of a finished product than high school hitters. They're less risky than any type of pitcher who could break at any moment in time. Of the 10 players on this list, probably at least half should make the big leagues.
They're a little bit older, they face better competition in college or in summer ball. And so these are our 10. Again, this list is based combination of personal preference, industry consensus, and us just kind of talking to people around the game.
At number 10 is Arkansas third baseman CAYDEN WALLACE. The Razorbacks made a run deep into the College World Series, so this guy was on television quite a bit.
Yes, and he was his freshman year too when that Arkansas team was the best team in college baseball all year long before flaming out against NC State. What kind of player is CAYDEN WALLACE? Well, to see the kind of plays he made at third base this year after spending much of his freshman year in the outfield was so impressive. He's one of the best arms you'll see at the position, but you're buying the bat here. We're talking about college hitters, some of the best power potential in this class to all fields. He does have some swing and miss issues that he was improving as the season went on. I'm a huge fan of CAYDEN WALLACE. He's sophomore eligible, so he's only played 2 years of college baseball, and I think he deserves to be talked about way more in the first round than he has been, but I would expect to hear his name called at least in the top 50 or 60 picks.
That throw he made in the regional in Stillwater was the play of the season that will stick in my mind in college baseball. At number 9 is Oklahoma shortstop or infielder Peyton Graham. He is built like Jordan Schusterman was taller, which is not something that you can say about a lot of professional baseball players. It's a weird frame.
It is a very weird frame. That is definitely true.
Like putting your toddler's popsicle stick creation around the Mona Lisa. It's a weird frame.
Okay. You got there. You eventually got there. He is a skinny lad. He also looks a lot like Christian Yelich, but he is going to stick in the infield. Will it be at shortstop? Will it be at third base? He's not terrible over there, and he certainly has the speed and agility to do so. Some of the other parts of the defensive game are a little bit inconsistent, but you're buying an athlete here, even though he is indeed very, very, very skinny. He had 20 homers and 30 steals this year, which hasn't been done in college baseball in a long time. And if you do believe he can stick at shortstop with his power potential, I mean, there's a reason there are teams that are really excited about Peyton Graham.
I was able to watch a game from right behind the plate at the College World Series in Omaha, and one of the things that I took away from that was Peyton Graham's bat control. He's able to get his barrel to pitches in parts of the zone that a lot of college hitters can't, and it's even more impressive when you consider that he's 6'4" and has really long arms. So I think this guy's going to make a lot of contact at the big league level. The floor here, I would say, is pretty high. And the ass is pretty flat.
At number 8 is James Madison, outfielder Chase DeLauter. James Madison, not exactly known for producing top draft picks as much as we love and appreciate Odyssey Alexander, but Chase DeLauter burst onto the scene last year. Fantastic shortened season for James Madison. They didn't play a full year. I'm not even talking about 2020. They didn't even play that much of a season in 2021. But then he went to the Cape, the best summer league in the country, and completely destroyed it. And everyone was looking around like, who is this kid from James Madison? He was unbelievable in the summer. And then if you look at his numbers from this year, he was amazing again, hitting well over 400. He ultimately had a broken foot that ended his season early, but 1,400 OPS, more walks than strikeouts, but he had one bad weekend. His first games of the year came against 2 very good Florida State left-handers in front of 7,000 scouts, and he looked very bad. And so because baseball scouting is silly, everyone was like, never mind, he sucks. Forget everything we saw last summer and everything we're going to see the rest of the spring. I still really like Chase DeLauter. He's a really big dude with an interesting swing, but this kind of power and patience, I still think that some model team is going to draft him super duper high because his stats are so ridiculous, particularly on the Cape. But he is divisive. You can't understand when you see a guy from James Madison struggle against, a big program like Florida State. Like, he can't cut it in the big leagues. So this is a really interesting guy. I can't wait to see where Chase DeLauter goes.
At number 7 is the face of the Tennessee Volunteers' incredible season, outfielder Drew Gilbert, originally from Minnesota. He spent the last 3 years in Knoxville, tearing it up in the SEC. He wears way too much eye black. He's very loud. He got ejected in game 1 of the Super Regional. I would say he is less of a divisive prospect and more of a divisive person.
Yeah, I think so. And part of me really feels like he has just leaned in and is playing this character, and that Drew Gilbert, the person, when he's away from the field, is probably just totally normal. I mean, come on, the dude's from Minnesota. But man, it is when you watch him play baseball, he is certainly obnoxious. But let's talk about Drew Gilbert, the baseball player, because he's not just on here because he's famous and has hit a couple big home runs. The tools here are actually pretty ridiculous. Very strong center fielder. He's got plus speed. He's got real pop, even though he's only 5'9", and just a general overall strong hit tool, which has impressed scouts. Even in that tiny stadium down in Knoxville, he does have legitimate power. So this dude plays with a ridiculous amount of fire. He's very fun to watch, and whichever team drafts him is gonna love him, like, immediately, I'm sure. But I'm curious to see if he continues to piss people off in Pro Ball.
I would describe him as like if Dustin Pedroia cared about Instagram. To be clear, I would say Drew Gilbert is one of my favorite players available in the draft.
Definitely.
Like you said, really compact, short arms, great to reach fastballs at the top of the zone. Whoever takes him is going to love him. High energy. You want players who look like they give a shit, and let me tell you, that is certainly Drew Gilbert.
At number 6 is Jace Young. No, not the football player Chase Young, although I know that is going to confuse some people. Jace Young with J's. We got the alliteration. This is the younger brother.
No, it's not. I want to be clear here. It is not alliteration, even though both start with a J. It's not Jace Jung or Yace Young. It's Jace Young.
What would, if you could decide how his name was pronounced, what would you go with?
Jace Jung.
Okay, so you're Team Jung. You would like him to make that switch, make that adjustment coming into Pro Ball.
Bingo. There are people and athletes with the last name Young. No one has the last name Jung.
Although, again, we already have some precedent. His brother, Josh Young, not Jung, sadly, one of the top prospects in the Rangers system. I think we would have already seen him in the big leagues this year had he not gotten hurt. Now, as we've said before, the younger brother is usually somehow even better.
The Junger brother?
Yes. Jace Young, the defense we're not as excited about. This is more of like a big, bulky, maybe Max Muncy shift-aided second baseman type, but the dude rakes. It is a bit of a funky setup before. He's kind of got like the Jason Kipnis, like Ron Carew, like he kind of holds the bat. Well, we got a few weird swings in this top 10, but he does that. But my goodness, it has worked for him at Texas Tech. Sure, that's a good place to hit, but his overall just offensive profile is so impressive. It felt like when we started the season, he was an easy top 10 pick. Now maybe more 10 to 20. I still wouldn't be surprised to see him sneak into the back half of the top 10. I'm still impressed with this guy, and I think any team would be really excited to have him. At number 5, let's talk about Jacob Berry, a switch hitter, which certainly helps, and he is about as balanced as you'll find from a switch hitter at this age. LSU came over from Arizona after a monster freshman season. This dude has ridiculous power from both sides of the plate, but boy is he not a good athlete. Now, if he was on another team that didn't have the defensive wizard that is Trey Morgan, we'd probably just see him playing an okay first base. But instead, we saw him trying his best at third, trying his best in left and right, and it was not pretty, and then obviously DHing a fair bit.
This is what experts call an in-box athlete, which means that when he is in those little white lines right next to home plate, the athleticism plays. But you take him outside of that, and it is not someone who's going to win the Olympic decathlon. But guess what? At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. What's like a lazy comp for him at the big league level? Like a bad athlete switch hitting first baseman? Is it like Andrew Vaughn?
Yeah, so Vaughn certainly comes to mind. Obviously, he was one of the top college hitters in the class, one of the best college hitters we've seen. So Vaughn comes to mind. This isn't necessarily a comp, but when you say like athlete in the box and nowhere else, I think JD Martinez. That's the name that comes to mind. The Phillies, everyone on the Phillies, I would say.
This Jacob isn't a good athlete either, okay? And I wake up every day and I piss straight. At number 4, Camels shortstop, Zach Neto. Is this a rocket? No. But he does have one of the wildest leg kicks you will ever see. But he had an outstanding season for the Camels in 2022, and he probably will get taken within the first half of the first round.
There's leg kicks where it's like, okay, here's, Josh Donaldson or Jose Bautista. But this is so extreme.
If the leg kick stops him from catching up with high level velocity, do you take it away, and then does he have the same level of pop without it? That's the big concern about Neto. Again, it's like a Saruharu O leg kick. It looks like he's pitching, is how I've described it to people. It's huge, and it really is, fairly or not, kind of defining the entirety of how people think he'll perform in the pro ranks.
Timing is so good that he leverages that leg kick and just the general swing into legitimate plus power. He is not a big dude at all, but he has hit some home runs this year. He's put up some exit velos that have teams super excited. He also just has the general, I'm the best player on the field energy. He's, up to 95 on the mound. He was the closer for the Camels as well. But I love Zach Neto, and he's fantastic. He could fall. He could be maybe later teens. He could go in the top 7 or 8.
At number 3 is Virginia Tech outfielder Gavin Crisscross Applesauce.
Another guy who was not particularly well known in high school goes to Blacksburg. He's a solid start to his college career, and then last summer, Team USA, he was arguably the best hitter on that team, on that collegiate national team. And then he just carried it into this spring when he put up crazy numbers for a Virginia Tech offense that was insane, and he was, of course, the best hitter on that team. I mean, the reason why teams love Gavin Cross is he can probably play a solid center field, and he rakes. It's pretty straightforward. It's not necessarily the flashiest, in the Drew Gilbert type where his highlights are crazy because he's going crazy, but he is really, really, really good, and I think pretty safe as well, and seems like a sure bet to go in, the top 10 picks.
If it all goes to shit, he's a average defensive center fielder with
like a
above average
bat. Yeah, all right, it's pretty freaking good. I know we all want our generational superstars, but the floor here seems pretty high.
At number 2 is Georgia Tech catcher Kevin Parada. Georgia Tech makes 2 things better than anybody else, Jordan: engineers and college catchers.
Kevin Parada, who could have been maybe a second-round pick back in 2020, was like, no, I am a catcher. I'm going to go to Georgia Tech. That will help my draft stock. And boy, was he right. This is another guy with kind of an interesting setup. And this is one where, unlike the leg kick, I would love to read about or know why he does what he does before he swings the bat very hard. But it works. This guy hit 26 home runs this season. That is very impressive. His raw power is crazy. He's fine behind the plate. He's certainly been improving. Weirdly, when you think he sucks behind the plate, his receiving is actually okay. His arm is really bad. He really struggled with the running game. But generally, receiving, game calling, stuff like that, I think teams think makeup-wise, he is going to have what it takes to stick behind the plate.
Why is he not Joey Bart?
Well, Joey Bart, I think we were much more excited about the defense, and the swing and miss was way, way, way more of a concern. And I think even with the unorthodox setup, I think there's much more belief in Kevin Parada's contact ability compared to Joey Bart. Also, he wears goggles, which we love. We love the rec specs. He's rocking those well. To me, it looks like he's wearing he has the Ace Hardware. I'm going to get my chainsaw out and cut down this tree. It's a great look though. At number 1, it's Brooks Lee, the shortstop from Cal Poly. Cal Poly churning out a possible number 1 overall pick. I know you don't want him for the Orioles at number 1, Jake. That's fine. But this guy, a switch hitting shortstop. First of all, why is he even at Cal Poly? Oh, well, his dad's the coach. That helps. He was not going to be a top 5 pick coming out of high school, and now he has a great chance to be. We talk about, sons of big leaguers, that helps. Sons of coaches, also usually a pretty good sign, especially for a kid like Brooks Lee. His makeup also off the charts. Baseball IQ, duh. Of course, he's been playing since he was, 6 months old, I'm sure. And while, look, he's also the kind of guy where, the athleticism is not necessarily overwhelming. He's solid at short, but his bat to ball is incredible. Not just plate discipline, but his contact ability from both sides is really impressive. Very rarely strikes out. And, in a class where just in general there's so many hitters where you're always saying, swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss. That is not an issue for Brooks Lee. And when you combine that with plus power, certainly from the left side, he can probably stick on the left side of the infield. Son of a coach, blah, blah, blah. That's what a top 5 pick looks like.
That's our top 10. Do you like our list? Do you hate our list? Are we stupid? Are you stupid? Let us know in the comments down below. Which college players are you most excited about for the 2022 draft? Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm Jake Mintz. That's Jordan Schusterman. And Jordan, I was 0 for 1 in college with 1 strikeout. Can I get picked?
You will not be in our top 10 or top 100 or top 1,000 or top 1,000,000